a shadow on the wall that looks like a man. Lord, that lamp just moved on that stand. I got movement in the cellars, I got footsteps in the hall. There's no time to waste, I better make some calls. I gotta get ready, make everything right, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team, let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. This old house has a long history. It should be real, real good for activity. And we got the house wired for sound and got motion alarms setting all around. Got a box full of batteries ready to go, and everyone's itching to start this show. Got our logo tees, driving black SUVs, and that one bald guy with a slick goatee. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. Well, there's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is your big brother Mike calling. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. That's right. Go get 'em, boys.
Hi guys, I promise I won't play that twice. Oh, it's been one of those kind of weeks.
Hi everybody, and welcome to PEMA TV.
And welcome to Friday, November the 2nd, 2012. Only 20 more days till Christmas, or Thanksgiving.
Don't rush it.
Yeah, tell me about it. Lots of stuff going on here on the network. I had some shows move around, had a new show start on Thursday night. We do have an all-female lineup on Monday nights, so now on Thursdays you can tune in for Testosterone Thursdays here on BEN. We have an all-hosted male lineup. My darling wife, as you can see, is not here, and I don't have her body hidden anywhere here in East Texas. She's actually in Pennsylvania. And, honey, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are things up there?
Cold. Very cold.
I'm guessing everybody around Mary's up there is okay, though. I mean, everybody's doing okay.
Yeah, from what I can tell, we did some driving around last night, and there's a lot of really big trees and sidewalks missing now. Yeah. Not too far from here, people are still without electricity. We had a flooded basement and a few shingles and a huge bush takeoff. But other than that, we want to send our prayers out to everybody involved in the Frankenstorm.
Yeah, Kim and I went through a very similar type scenario, a much smaller scale. There in St. Louis, a year ago, maybe something. A little more than a year ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. So we know what it's like to your entire neighborhood gets just decimated and leveled, and tops get pulled off of buildings, and 300-year-old trees start falling over. It's pretty. It's impressive what Mother Nature can do. Scary too.
Devastating.
Yeah.
And just my own little side note. I just removed someone from my Facebook for talking garbage about the victims up here. That's not nice. It's not okay.
Yeah.
And how anybody can be so cold is beyond me. They've already claimed 100 deaths up here. I mean, there are people. We're getting reports from Long Island where they have no gas at the pumps, they have no electricity, they haven't had anything all week. They're just kind of stuck on Long Island. So please send out prayers to them and don't make fun of them.
Yeah. Kind of makes that whole escape from New York isn't quite as funny as it used to be when you were growing up watching it.
Well, from what Sal and Jen had said, that a lot of the gas stations are actually running on generators, and the generators aren't strong enough to pump the gas.
Right.
So they're just kind of trapped.
Yeah. I know they were talking, I know I saw on CEN. That's a new news network. CNN, they were talking, they have police stationed at almost every gas station that still has any kind of fuel up there, just to make sure that people are being able to one at a time go to the pumps and get gas, and there's nobody fighting, and it's just ridiculous.
Absolutely, but we send our prayers out to everybody involved in this thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, and we're glad all our friends and fans up there are happy, and we hope everybody's safe. I'm gonna try to find some Red Cross videos to put on the autopilot here at the TV station, so as people log in, I haven't been able to find one yet. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to find one. That way, people are gonna constantly have the information up there, so they'll know where to go.
Right. Bless you.
But tonight, would you like to introduce our guest, since I can't seem to get his name right?
Because I messed you up?
I didn't say that. Not on air.
Tonight we have a lovely guest. He is the host of Slab Radio, Mr. Reverend, or Reverend Mr. Randy Ivy. Hi, Randy.
Hey, guys. And yeah, you can call me anything you want. Richard, Randy, Larry, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Just don't call you late for dinner.
Exactly. Exactly. Hey, I heard what you were talking about being in Missouri and the flooding and stuff that goes on up there. I lived in High Ridge for many years.
So did I.
And we got flooded out, I don't know how many times. Well, then you probably know where we lived at. We lived at in the trailer park. It was, I don't remember the name of it. It was down at the bottom of the hill. There was a road that came out of High Ridge, and there was a big hill, and we lived in that trailer park that was down there at the bottom.
Okay, I live behind Schnucks on Hillcrest at the top of the hill.
Okay, I know right where that's at. My brother worked there. Actually, that's where he got his first job at. Yeah, I know right where that's at. We lived down that trailer park, and it seemed like every year, I don't know how many times, actually, that water came up right up to the frame of the trailer. We had a canoe underneath the trailer that we'd have to pull out to get to the end of the road. So, I'm familiar with what you were talking about. That's cool.
Well, a year and a half ago in April, we were actually on the air doing a show when the tornado hit Lambert Airport, and we were literally 13 minutes from the front door.
Wow.
So it kind of hopped and jumped and skipped around our neighborhood like crazy. Houses were literally missing the second floor. Houses were gone. We completely lucked out. It had hit across the street and jumped to the house 2 doors down. Our power and everything went out because their shed flew through our wires.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating. And people, I saw your post on Facebook when you were talking about somebody was making fun of these people. I don't understand why people do that. Obviously, they've never been through anything like that.
Well, actually, Randy or Larry or Richard. Actually, last night on Yakking with the Yeti, my first guest was Mr. John Tenney, and I don't know if you know John. John's great, very, very intellectual, very thought-provoking individual. And one of the things that we ended up talking about last night, and a point that I brought up, was there's going to be a lot of people in Louisiana that are not going to. They'll send their sympathies and they'll send help, but they're not going to be overflowing with stuff after what happened with Katrina. And I know it's a whole different presidential person, a whole different cabinet, whole different government than what was then there. But I'm not sure. I think I know the post that Kim was referring to on her Facebook post, and I'm not sure where that lady's from.
Well, she said that she was in Hurricane Ike, but her comment was she was sick and tired of hearing all the Northerners whine and complain about what's going on up here because when Ike hit there, they had deer in their freezer and they ate beans. Well, different situations. But she was playing the whole Southern versus Northern card too, and that's just not right. People are people.
And honey, I totally agree. The only reason I mentioned that is because that, to me, those would be the only people that would have any room to be able to say anything. Because I was supposed to go there, and I actually went there a year later, and it was still devastated down there. I mean, it's bad. It's still bad down in New Orleans. It's not nearly quite the shining jewel it used to be.
Well, you would think anybody going through anything like this,
would be sympathetic.
Similar, worse or less, would have a little compassion and understanding, not just attack like she did.
I totally understand. I am not in any way condoning it. I'm just saying that's going to be the only people that would say that anybody could back up. Anybody else is just being a tool.
Yeah. But cool, you lived in High Ridge.
Oh, what was that?
I said, cool, you lived in High Ridge. We probably ran into each other 100,000 times.
Probably. It's quite possible. High Ridge isn't that big.
No, it's not. And my daughter went to Little Brennan.
Yep, my brothers did too.
So yeah,
that's cool.
Where you're at, or we're at.
Actually, it was kind of neat. I lived on Ivy Gate Road, which, being an Ivy, you couldn't get any better than that.
Right.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, guys, we were talking before the show. I'm kind of a little out of it because of I got a sinus infection, and it blew up one of my eardrums, so it's kind of got me off. So I'm not completely on my game tonight, so you'll have to forgive me.
Oh, that's okay.
We'll forgive you this time.
We'll forgive you.
All right, good. Okay.
We'll make you struggle through this again sometime just for that.
I can do that.
So you're the host of Slab Radio?
Yeah, well, I guess there's actually a few people I know that are hanging out here in the chat room. Lady V, hi V. Yeah, I'm a radio host. Been doing that for going on 7 years. Paranormal investigator. Been doing that for 23 years. Just about 23 years. And so I figured, might as well put that to some use and get on the radio. And this was back before everybody and their brother had a radio show. And loved it. Still do it. Gonna keep doing it.
So we've probably been to some of the same haunts, too, if we were in the same neighborhood.
Quite possible.
Like Morris Mills?
Yep.
Mineral Hotel?
No, didn't. I've been by there. Have not got to investigate there.
Go to the meat locker.
Is it cool?
Very.
Well, basically, Mineral Springs is basically it started out as being an ice house, and it's basically just dug into the hill, and of course down at the very bottom was where the ice house was at. Well, it went from being an ice house to a butcher shop, and then they just kept adding floors, and once they built the spa, and added like two rooms, 2 layers of floors, or 2 floors worth of rooms, now it's a hotel. But you go past their ballroom. Their ballroom's about the only level that they advertise. When you start getting below that, you're below street level, way below street level. It's pretty cool back up in there.
I'll have to check that out when I get back down in that part of the country. We're kind of up here in southern Canada, is what I like to call it. We're in South Dakota, and it's there's a lot of good places up here, though, too. There's a lot of very cool places to go investigate. We've actually really kind of got away from the more public investigation places, and our investigations are more of the homeowners that have problems. But still, I mean, my favorite place, of course, is Waverly Hills. I've been there 3 times now, and I could go there every day. I could live there. It wouldn't bother me a bit. I love that place.
Well, Waverly Hills is not one of those places I would consider overdone quite yet.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, you hear a lot about it, but we have something different happen every time we go there. We all have new stuff happen, which is great. And I don't know, did you hear that he's talking about trying to make that into like a hotel or a bed and breakfast?
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
I'd like to be there during the renovations.
Yeah, they and I haven't quite figured that out. Why spirits get so riled up during renovations?
Because you're changing their house, their building.
But if you're floating through the floors and the walls, why does the structure itself matter? I understand affecting the whole energy and the chi of the place. I get that. But I mean, if you're floating through a wall or a door.
Well, maybe they don't know they're floating through a wall or a door. Maybe there used to be a door there or a stairway that just isn't there anymore.
Very good point.
Right. The way I could explain that a little bit. Have you ever seen the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the way I kind of look at this, is that maybe they're seeing us as the ghosts. We're the ones that aren't supposed to be there. They don't know what's going on, so, we're the out of place stuff, and things start getting moved around, and then they start freaking out just like we would when things would start moving around in your house.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Well, especially if they don't know they've died.
That's true.
It's not like, you're in a horrible... You're in a hospital or something, and you just don't wake up and someone hands you a card and says, "Here, you're dead." Usually that's not how that works.
The Book of the Dead. I love that in Beetlejuice.
Oh, the handbook for the recently deceased.
Yes. There you go. I'm sorry, I had that wrong, didn't I?
Yeah, that would be great.
On the slab, what have you always strived to do with the slab? What has that always kind of meant to you?
Okay, well, honestly, I started doing the slab really because there was a lot of people in the paranormal world that I wanted to talk to, and it's hard to just call people like, the Booth Brothers or Barry Fitzgerald and get them on the phone. And it's that was really the whole point when I first started, was to be able to talk to some of the people that I kind of admired and kind of, enjoyed their techniques and kind of picked their brain a little bit. And it took off from there. I mean, our very first guest was Dave Schrader from Darkness Radio. And that was a good guest right there. Well, he interviewed me for 2 hours instead of the other way around. And it got us into meeting a lot of other the kind of paracelebs, I guess you want to call them, in the paranormal world. And really, that was the whole point of doing the show. Is there was people I wanted to talk to, and I figured that was the easiest way to do it. And it just kind of took off. We started getting a lot of listeners, and really wasn't expecting it to turn out to be anything big, but it really just kind of grew quicker than we could handle it almost.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not complaining at all. Don't get me wrong. It kind of just blew up on us, and I love doing it. You guys know how it is. If you miss a show for whatever reason, you feel like you're letting people down, or or let yourself down. I love doing this. I love love the interviews, like you guys. I like coming and interviewing and just talking to people and meeting new people in the paranormal world. And really, that's kind of what we did. Over the first couple of years, we had all these big name guests. I got to talk to all the people that I really wanted to talk to. Like I said, Barry Fitzgerald, the Booth brothers have been on the show, I don't know, a dozen times. Christopher Booth has been on a bunch. Got to talk to Alexandra Holzer and Rosemary Guiley and all these people. And it was great. And now we've kind of expanded and started bringing other people in. We were, we had like celebrities on too that weren't paranormal. But now we're kind of exploring, how do I put this? A lot of the paranormal, the para-celebs are kind of getting burnt out because there are so many programs now, and there's, you can go listen to the Booth Brothers every night of the week on some radio show or the other. So now we're kind of getting to where we're letting kind of some of the newer people that are coming up in this, well, I don't like to call it an industry. I don't know, industry, hobby, whatever you want, the science.
Addiction would be a good word.
Addiction is a great word. Yep, and we're trying to bring those and give them a little exposure and, kind of trying to pick their brains, because there's a lot of people. This whole paranormal community has grown just, tenfold every year, it seems like. There's just hundreds and hundreds of new groups coming out, and we just try to get a little bit of everybody on there now.
Yeah, and we kind of started out with smaller groups. Our thing was to give people a voice who don't normally have one. So we like to bring in teams from around the country, different areas, different locations. That way, you get to hear more than just the standard Waverly Hills, the Stanley Hotel. You get to hear about the little places in other small towns.
Right.
Or the groups and people that are doing the, I'm not going to say the backbone of the work, but they are doing good work. That might not ever get the recognition or the ability to get their ideas or their philosophies out. And their philosophies are just as valid as anybody else's in our book.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
We have about 3 months a year to where we have a lot of the, as you said, para-celebs on. And we've gotten to know quite a few of them. But we still like to go back and grab smaller teams, just from random places. Places you've never heard of, Cotton Joe, Alabama, or wherever.
Right.
Because they have the same stories, just different locations, and the location's fascinating.
And Randy, I think you'll agree it's a huge learning experience for us that host these type of shows, because we're the first one whose horizons get expanded doing this, because we get to see all these many different facets of this diamond, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. That I was just going to actually say that it's cool listening to these lesser-known groups and talking to people that are, aren't out there just to be, on TV or things like that are, listen to the different ways that people actually go about investigating, different techniques they use. There's some real interesting people out there that do stuff that's that you don't see on TV.
Yeah. and you'd never hear about it any other way.
Exactly. I mean, and it's little things. You know, sometimes it's really little things. We talked to. I can't remember the guy's name here. Not too long ago, and their team, they used wind chimes, but they're inside a sealed mason jar, and he puts that on the table, and he used this little wind chime thing to communicate. If they can get the chimes to move, it's just little things like that. I just find fascinating. It just kind of opens your mind to other things that you could do.
Sort of like a bell jar.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of that until this guy talked about it, and I was like, "That is a very cool idea."
If you're drilling the hole in mason jar lids, and I'm saying this from experience, if you're drilling holes in mason jar lids, that's some redneck ingenuity right there, just at its finest. I'm pretty sure there was probably some reflective silver protective coating on that thing too somewhere.
And Eric should know he is the king of the silver adhesive. Right.
The protective silver adhesive. Yes, I am. Right. Well, and I've talked about this before, Randy. I didn't know whether you know this. I've made my own EMF pumps, and they're nicknamed the Flower Pots of Doom. Okay.
Okay. How did you do this?
Well,
if you don't mind my asking,
where I used to be employed, we got a lot of import traffic. And there was one particular producer that every container they sent over, they put like 2mm or 3mm Mylar that was reflective on one side because to keep the temperature inside the container at a certain temperature. Well, to make this Mylar stick, I don't know where they got them. They're coming from Australia, so I don't know where in Australia they're getting them. But they had these very small magnets. So they'd have one guy rolling the stuff in the 6-foot roll down, and this other guy was just sitting there with a magnet going flip, 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 and it's sticking to the side of the container. Well, I collected those for a little while. So I have sticks of about 26 of those magnets. Okay? And this is all battery powered, and the reason why I was making fun of the whole mason jar thing is all I did is drill a hole in the top of a mason jar and solder a small DC motor right there, built a tray to hold the magnets. Then I took that small mason jar with the battery that was screwed on the top, and I stuck it in a butter tub full of dirt and then covered the entire thing in protective silver. I did find some orange duct tape that I used on the top because safety first, but the rest of it's covered in silver protective material. Now this sounds all redneck, and oh my God, well, what will that do? Most of the plug-in models only have a radiant feet from their generator of about 4 foot.
Right.
Mine will affect a millimeter from 12 feet away. Within a foot, it will peg out a millimeter.
Yep.
Wow.
So these are really, seriously, they're not, I have never been around anybody that has a pacemaker with them. Don't really want to, I don't be responsible for that, but they will kick out some EMF, and we have had some episodes where we've taken and done experiments and charged the atmosphere with them and yada yada yada. But it's the ingenuity. See, that's kind of what I was meant by the comment I made earlier. Is we're very lucky we get to see this first. I mean, this was Kim's PEMA TV is Kim's. This is Kim's show. I'm the good looking meat puppet. And she wanted to give people a voice that never would have gotten a voice before.
Right.
And I wouldn't have never even thought about some of these pumps if we hadn't met Tim Rancorn and a few of the other people that I would have never met them if Kim hadn't started doing the show. So
I am good for something.
I got something. Yeah, I'm just going to be quiet on that one. But yeah, I mean it's funny that this is how this is how we learned from it. 20
yeah, he took his little butter tub to a location, and Tim Rancorn and Tommy Golden and a bunch of them started calling them the Flower Pots of Doom. It became a running joke, so he's been using them ever since.
Yeah. I don't think I've got... You guys talk amongst yourselves. I think I've got one here close.
Uh-oh. So, yep. Kim, where are you at now?
right now I am in just outside of Philly.
Oh, wow. So you're up there kind of in the heart of all this mess.
Yeah, I'm a little bit west. We got hit with the rain and the winds and all that craziness, but we really lucked out because we only lost power for about 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Like I said, we lost some shingles and a huge bush outside, and then the basement started flooding. But for the most part, we've got heat, we've got lights and everything. So, but the neighborhood around here, we were driving around last night, and entire parts of the city are just black. There's no lights. Trees are down. Trees have literally pulled up sidewalks, and there's some really bad areas up here right now. But apparently it's my thing, because last year when I came up here at the same time was when that freak blizzard hit. So yeah. And Lady B in the chat room will say it's all my fault.
Way to go, Kim.
Yeah, coincidence? I think not.
But here, this is, and I know you can't see it when we go off air. Well, unless you've got the player up. But this is the flower pot of doom right here.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't really look like much, but as you can see, that's a stick of about 26 individual ferromagnets.
Okay.
And it's battery powered.
And that motor just spins that around?
Yeah, I don't know if it's got any juice in the batteries or not.
Huh. Now, since you've been using this, well,
I hope I haven't got cancer.
Yeah, yeah, I hope not.
Well, no, I mean, I'm serious. If you go back and watch our show on the archive, you'll see on our intro there's a video, a small video, like 25 seconds of a millimeter, and you'll see that millimeter cycling up and cycling down. And what it is I used to have 3 of these. Only have 2 left now. One got damaged in our move. But it's 2 of them that were set within, I think, 6 feet of each other on the floor. The millimeter was 3 foot up in the air on top of what used to be an electric chair. So if you can imagine, this is set up like this. That video of that stuff cycling is the video of that millimeter cycling fields between these two pumps. So this can do some stuff. So I'm hoping I haven't hurt nobody or hurt myself being around them as much as I have. But yes, we've had some interesting results.
Well, I think the most interesting was with Tommy Golden and Nikki from Third Eye.
Yeah.
Because Tommy and Nikki are like the sweetest people, and as soon as he turned those things off, they became really ugly. I mean, stuff coming out of their mouths, and their attitudes changed, and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah. We even at OSPH down in the basement, we even ran 2. We had all 3 of my pumps going and an ion cannon going for an hour. And when we came back and went in there's a couple of things. This basement was not filthy, but it was dusty. What we figured out was when you charge the atmosphere with all those negative ions, all the dust settles. You don't get any orbs floating across your video. You don't get things just floating around, because the atmosphere is actually heavy enough to settle all that. But it's the effects that has on the investigators is what we found just absolutely fascinating. Tommy, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this. Tommy is also an amputee. He's just right below his knee on one leg. When he went down there, one of the first things he commented on is my leg doesn't hurt, because he still experiences the ghost pains, that kind of thing. One of the first things he said is my leg doesn't hurt, and I feel freaking happy as hell. And there were several other people that through the night, as they went through that atmosphere that we had charged up like that, they felt the same way. And as soon as they left, or as soon as those pumps quit running, because they are battery powered, and what happens is the batteries physically heat up. They don't run out of energy, but they heat up to where they're not sending out enough amperage anymore to run the motor, and they shut off. But when they shut off, everybody's attitude and personality just changed just like that.
You know? Wow.
And
so See, I don't use a lot of equipment like that. I never really kind of have. Do you? Do you think that, things like the ion cannons and the EMF pumps and things like that, do they really make a difference as far as investigating? I'm kind of from the old school, I guess. A lot of the stuff I I was almost said grew up with, but I guess grew up in the paranormal community with was a lot of Hans Holzer stuff. Mm-hmm. So I know that the TV has kind of influenced a lot of people as to, you have to do investigations at night with the lights out and all that. And I've never really followed that. I mean, I like investigating at night, but we don't use a lot of equipment. I do use a millimeter. We use a millimeter, a digital recorder, a video camera, and a still camera. I mean, that's pretty much our thing right there. I mean, we could take a DVR system, but I kind of like the more. Well, I don't know. I've just never had an investigation where we've used all this technical stuff.
Well,
go ahead.
What we did is, like the one time we had a complete weekend of research. But we did it from both sides. We did it from the totally techie side back to the metaphysical and the old school side. I'm a dowser. I am the biggest tech tard in the world, and I'll be the first to admit it. Eric, on the other hand, is the technical side. So we use both sides. But as long as we've been out there, we never investigate together.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd seen me building these pumps had more to do with trying to. I'm kind of way past the. Is there anything out there? I'm kind of me personally. I'm in my journey through this. I'm at the how and why. So part of the reason behind building the Flower Pots of Doom, part of the reason behind that is I'm trying to just go all the way through for a theory that they're using magnetic energy to create EVPs. Because now that's a very prominent theory that an EVP is only created through a dynamic microphone because a dynamic microphone is EMF sensitive, whereas a condenser mic is purely it's EMF deaf. Basically, it doesn't react to a magnetic field.
And I can turn on a voice recorder. Yay!
So the whole point of me building this is to try to give them more energy, hoping we would have better results because it would be more magnetic energy because this is not electricity. This is a moving magnetic field.
Right.
That's part of the reason I bought it. When Kim and I go investigating, you named off the exact inventory of our equipment, except we don't have a DVR system. I have enough trouble.
Camcorder, voice recorders, digital recorders, the Flower Pots of Doom, the millimeter, and then I have dowsing rods and pendulums.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's another question I had, really, and it's something I've never really used as far as an investigation, would be dowsing rods. When I lived I lived and grew up in DeSoto, Missouri. And my uncle,
too.
Rhea, I used to live out on Highfield Road.
We lived off of Cabernet. It was a little subdivision, only 10 houses in there. My daughter went to Sunrise.
Wow. That's funny. We've been just kind of following each other around.
Apparently.
Anyway, well, what I was saying was my uncle, I saw him, one day he had these metal rods in his hand, and he was walking all zigzag through the yard and sticking flags at different points in the yard. And so I went out, I was, 10 or 12 years old, went out, asked him what he was doing, and he said, well, I'm finding the water line that goes from the house out to the road so we can build the shed and make sure we don't build the shed on top of it. And he was like right on the money with these dowsing rods, was following the water lines under the ground and taught me how to do that. And I've learned I can find water lines anywhere. I can find water underground anywhere with dowsing rods. But how do you go from using that for water to finding spirits? I mean, is it something that you've been able to prove, like, not prove, I guess we can't really prove anything in this field, but have you been able to back up what you see, what you get on the dowsing rods with, an EMF meter or a recorder or anything?
Okay. What I started out doing was I would take the dowsing rods and I would simply tell them, show me. And wherever they finally crossed is where I would lay down a static voice recorder. And about 88% of the time, we would pick up some EVP from just leaving the recorder set. And then I decided I was going to try an experiment. And we've done this 3 times so far. And what we did was we took 2 dowsers, put them up against the same wall, with their backs against the wall, with someone sitting between them asking questions, to where they were at either end and couldn't see each other, but the person in the middle could see both sets of rods and how they reacted. The first time we did it at Mineral Springs, and it was, what was it? 14 out of 20 questions, the rods reacted the same way. The second time we did it, it was like 58, I think, out of 75 questions. The last time we did it at OSPH, and Tommy Golden was with us filming, and he was asking the questions, and he knew this event that had happened down in the ER that none of us knew about. And he was asking the questions, and he was watching the rods, and apparently the rods answered every question properly. Even the ones he lied about, they would say no. And he said it was 100% on that particular test.
Wow.
And basically, if you think about it, Randy, the dowsing rods, that's just old school EMF. When you start talking about how it reacts to moving water and how it reacts doing that, that's just reacting to fluctuations that would be caused in the magnetic field of the Earth. And that's all they're reacting to. I mean, it's I'm not going to say it's the same thing as a millimeter. It just doesn't have any flashing lights or an antenna. And it can't tell you what temperature it is. Although if you touch a dowsing rod and it's cold, it's probably cold there. And if it's warm, it's probably warm in there. But I'm just saying, that's what, to me, that's what dowsing, it's always has been. It's just old school EMF.
Well,
right.
my thing was, everybody kept saying, well, you're doing it. Well, if you have 2 people with a third person monitoring, making sure neither can see each other, and they're asking all the questions, then the results are not necessarily us doing. Especially if we're not asking the questions, we don't know the answers. We can't see the other person, so it's not like we're forcing them to move the same way. So I started with these little experiments.
Right. Well, I have a set in my case that we carry around with us. I've just never had much experience using them as far as paranormal investigations go. So it's kind of something we're kind of experimenting with.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole point, is to be open-minded and be willing to try things. You know, that's something we try to strive to teach people and show them on our show. Is just try it for yourself. Don't believe it because I say it or because Kim. Well, if Kim says it, you can believe it because it's on the internet.
Yeah, and everything's believable on the internet.
Bonjour.
Well, I mean, not a lot of people say, well, I never get EVP, or I never get the photo, or I never feel anything. It's the same with rods. It's the same with a lot of equipment. I mean, certain people, different pieces of equipment work better for them. Maybe they've played with it longer, they've worked with it, they've studied it, whatever. But it's no different from a voice recorder and EVPs than it is dowsing rods. It just depends on the person.
And Randy, I'm pretty sure you've probably interviewed this gentleman. Have you ever talked to the Reverend Tim Shaw?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know Tim.
Tim made it. We interviewed him on PEMA TV one night, and Tim made, actually, because he is a master dowser, Kim pretty much picked his brain that night. And like Tim said that night, you know, there's a lot of people that say you can discount everything that happens with dowsing rods because it's micromuscular movements that you're doing yourself, whether you mean to or not. You don't necessarily mean to it. Your subconscious is doing it, and you can get into this whole long-winded scientific explanation of how it's absolutely positively nothing. What Tim said is, and this is from his learning from other master dowsers and just the sheer amount of time that he's done it. He says he's of the opinion that it's channeling. You're actually channeling, but you're not allowing them to channel through your entire body. You're basically allowing them to take you from the elbows down. And yes, it is micromuscular. He says he doesn't argue that fact. It is the micromuscular movements of your hand, but it's not you causing those movements.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I know that dowsing works as far as, like I said, as far as finding water and things like that. I know it does. I've done it many, many times. But yeah, it's just something we're trying. You know, there's something that has been out there. People have been doing for a while. I guess I need to talk to Tim about it more too. You know, there's always that thing in your head though when it comes to dowsing. Just like you said, the little micromuscular movements. You know, little variations in the way you're holding them and the weight and things like that. So there's always that in the back of your head that, oh, am I doing that? Am I doing that? And, you know, and it's, I don't know, it's just one of them things. We're just adding it to the thing. We're going to try it out and see what happens. Our big thing is EVPs. We have been so blessed with getting just some amazing EVPs. And some perverted EVPs at that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any of those. But with EVP and video and all that, it can be presented as data. Dowsing rods can't. I mean, you can't go to a client and go, oh, well, my rod's crossed. But it does add to personal experiences. And like I said, I start out, you know, telling it to show me and putting down a voice recorder. If it gets me that EVP in the long run, then it's worth trying.
Right. That kind of confirms what you're getting on the dowsing rods.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to try it. You know, I've kind of been using them a little bit, but I think we're going to try to get into that a little bit more and just see. Now, you said you use a pendulum?
Yes, I have two pendulums. I can map douse with it. Tim Shaw showed me how to map douse with it. But Lady B is the expert pendulum lady.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I couldn't hold a candle to her if I tried. Mine's dowsing, hers with the pendulum.
Yeah, Lady V's kind of a pain in the butt, though.
Yeah, but she can be cute when she's doing it sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes, but don't tell her that.
Oh, no, not a chance.
We don't want to fill that ego any bigger than it already is.
No, it's on the internet. Way to go, fellas. But you know, that's something too. People say the same thing about using pendulums. And it's the micromuscular movements, and once again, it's the same thing. It's your channeling. You know, you're the one. You're the conduit. You're the keyboard on that computer system, so to speak.
Yeah, but you kind of have to ask yourself, or at least I do, how safe are you doing that? How safe are you opening up that? opening up that portal, that connection.
If you're sitting there holding a digital recorder and doing the same, you're doing the same thing, Randy. In my furry opinion, you're doing
right.
If you're whether it's got batteries in it as a piece of equipment or it's a bent metal stick, it's still it's still you. It's you're always going to open yourself. And if you're sitting in a dark room in an abandoned building with a couple of people that you may have only known for 6 or 7 months, asking questions into the dark.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well,
that's very true.
Quite frankly, I'd rather use dowsing rods or a pendulum or a voice recorder or a camera as opposed to going, hit me, throw something at me,
Oh, yeah, no.
To me, that's just asking for trouble. I mean, I can handle a little bit, but I sure in the heck don't want to be knocked down some stairs or anything.
And I've come to realize this from watching some of the ghost hunting shows on television, Randy, that some of the people on the television shows are truly like slinkies.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They only bring a smile to your face when they're going down steps.
We don't watch TV personally. We haven't had a TV in almost 4 years. We just don't watch TV. It was a little experiment we were trying to run, and it worked out great. But we do watch kind of the paranormal shows. We get them on DVD or watch them on the internet. I watch them just for the pure. I mean, they are entertaining. You have to admit that. Even if I don't agree with just about everything they do on them, but God, they're entertaining. Some of these people are just they're just too much. I mean, you can tell it's really just all about the ratings. There is I'm not going to say no. There's very little real investigation going on TV shows. And people think that's what we do. I don't know how many times I've had new investigators that have joined the team, and you take them on that first investigation and explain to them, hey, this is what we're going to do tonight is not what you see on TV. Because they see, a whole 8 or 10 hour investigation edited down to an hour or 45 minutes. And they think that it's just when you walk in, it's just going to be crazy and there's, all kinds of stuff going to happen. And how many times, I don't know how many times you go on an investigation and really kind of sit around, doing nothing, staring off into the dark. And nothing ever happens. And I've had many investigators just leave because, it wasn't exciting enough for them,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, you can't review all your evidence in 5 minutes?
That's a good one too.
You mean you got 6 hours worth of audio and I got to spend a whole another 6 hours listening to that? Yeah. Or you walk into a place with somebody and they're all gung-ho and the first words out of their mouth were, if there's a demon in here, it makes you just want to right in the back of the head. Stop.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But
now, on the other hand, on the other side of this coin, I've had new investigators that I've taken on investigations that have been there 15 minutes and turned around and walked out and never heard from them again. Mm-hmm. They're like, I can't do this. And they're gone.
Some people can't handle it. Some people can't handle the fact that, because it crashes down their belief systems, Randy.
Oh, yeah.
They can't wrap their head around the fact that, this is all crap, and my dad told me it was crap, and my grandfather before him told me it was crap, so it's got to be crap, and something sits down next to him and goes, get out. Gotta go.
Yeah.
They can't deal with it.
Walk in, something touches them, and there's nobody around them, and they lose it. Or something will move. We've been in empty houses that people, are getting ready to move into. And they're like, we have this bad feeling, blah, blah, blah. I've taken new investigators in there, and you see a box move about 6 inches, just turn in the floor. And they're like, bye, I'm done. And I kind of got to laugh about it because, it is what it is. But still, You got to love people like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that just.
It's called the Black Suburban Syndrome. They think everybody in this field is going to get a TV show and a Black Suburban.
And we've never run across this personally that I know of, but I know we've interviewed several groups, and I guess most of them, maybe they were in the populated areas, is where they would get these phone calls from very educated people who had obviously watched some of the infotainment that's offered from the paranormal, and they would call up, and these people would go through a primary phone interview, they'd do a secondary phone interview, they'd actually go do an interview with these people at the location. You know, and everything's a go. They're doing everything right. They're taking that extra step. They're doing everything right. They call for the one last time that Thursday night to go, you know, hey, Bob, we're going to be by tomorrow night at about 8 o'clock. And the people on the other end of the phone go, well, that's great. Is the film crew coming with you guys then, too?
Or
I've had that call.
They finally get to the location and they find out that the homeowner has like 12 friends sitting there drinking beer ready to watch the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Run into that, too. Yeah, Eric, when you were just talking about, we just had one not too recently, and it wasn't, they weren't expecting the TV crew, but they had stuff going on in their house and really didn't know what to do. The church wasn't helping them. They had no clue as to what was going on, and so somebody referred him to me. We talked to the guy and did like an initial interview with him, and I told him, okay, I'd like to come over, you know, and we'll just kind of go around and you can show me stuff. And he said the same thing. He's like, all right, well, how do you do this? Do you bring a bunch of psychics and the TV crew? Are they coming too? Or it's like, no, we don't have no psychics and no TV crew. But yeah, people get, I guess they have the opinion that just by watching TV that when they call a paranormal investigator or a team, that's what we do. We bring in a couple psychics and a TV crew. And
I just want to know where the heck the catering truck is. I'm getting ripped off.
Right? There's been so few roach coaches show up on our investigation that I would, you know, that could be a profitable business.
Right.
It could be. Yeah, especially if you had like a hearse.
Oh,
when you pulled the coffin out, it had like a snack bar in it.
Or like a cooler on one end, where your head would be a cooler with cold drinks and Red Bull and stuff, and you know, could have really sugary snacks on the other end. Because you have to admit, the energy drink coffee industry, this addiction that we all suffer from, has kept those industries and the battery industry in business.
Oh, you better believe it.
Banners, T-shirts, business cards, trifolds.
Yeah, especially the coffee. The coffee is my main thing.
Mine do.
Kim, did you ever tell Randy about the coffee you found?
Oh no.
We lived in Tennessee.
At Walmart, they had this coffee. The brand name on it is Volt, Voltz. They had supersonic cinnamon and vortex vanilla. It had 3 times the caffeine as normal coffee.
Oh, wow.
And oh my goodness.
Actually has a very good flavor, and it's a very strong coffee. It's got a lot of oil. You know what I mean? When really strong coffee has a lot of oil, actually has oil on it. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, well, there was a gentleman that, Steve Fricks, that happened to be at this investigation we were at when we made this coffee, and he had just done a mohawk. He just grew a mohawk, a little 3-inch mohawk all the way back, just tall enough where you could see it. He got about halfway through a cup of coffee, looked me dead in the eyes, and says, I can feel the tips of my mohawk tingling.
Awesome. See, that sounds great. We should actually come up with a paranormal investigator's flavor of coffee.
Well, that's why I like these with the vortex vanilla and the supersonic cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need like EV.
Horror house or haunted house hazelnut.
Yeah.
There you go.
EVP vanilla. Or French EVP vanilla.
It would be EVP espresso.
There you go.
Ooh.
See, we
That
can
sounds
do
good too.
So
Now you got me
Starbucks,
wanting a cup of coffee.
so Starbucks should go to the small one, the medium, then the venti, then the Ghostbuster.
Right. Which
I
is
see,
a
but I have
coffee.
my problem is I have ADHD, and caffeine does exactly opposite to me what it does to everybody else.
Right.
I can drink one of those big Monster Energy drinks and lay down and go right to sleep. It'll just relax me so much. So I have to really kind of watch the coffee thing. I do like a half calf and I'm good. I think it's more the taste than the actual caffeine. Because the caffeine will just put me out.
Yeah.
But regardless, we could still make a fortune off these coffees.
Of course.
All we have to do is change the names, and we're golden.
Well, Randy, we are kind of getting towards the end here.
Okay.
What exciting news have you got for us about the slab?
Oh man, we've been on kind of hiatus the last couple of weeks, just because this is a busy time of the year for us. Really, we've got some things coming up. We've got a major guest coming up who is not a paranormal person, but I can't really announce him yet. I want to so bad, but I can't until we have it verified through his agent to be on the show. But Thursday nights are just crazy. We're over, at the Shark Radio Network. We do Naked Thursdays at the Shark, which is starts off with us. We've got, Dr. Rita Louise does, we broadcast her, and then the Slab Paranormal Radio, then, which kind of starts the weekend off with adult programming, because sometimes we get a little crazy over there, and then it goes to town. So we've got great guests lined up. I just wish I could announce this big guest we have. I can't do it. All I can say is I can give everybody a clue. Go watch The Love Guru. Have you seen The Love Guru? Yeah, go watch The Love Guru and pick out one person from that movie that you would like to interview. And that would be the person I'm talking to right now. And I'm just telling you guys, no, I haven't said this to anybody else, so...
Thank you.
You'll know who it is. You'll see. You'll figure it out.
So we'll just say big things coming to Slab Radio.
Big things, yes. And that's really kind of it. We just, lately we've just kind of winging it. Just trying to relax and, I don't know. It's this time of the year, This October was a busy month for all of us, so...
Yep.
It's the way it is.
Where can our viewers find you?
You can find me anywhere. First of all, Facebook is the easiest place to find me, and it's d.slab.radio would be my unofficial Facebook thing. You can find us at theslabradio.net is our website. We stream our network on there 24 hours a day. You can go over there and really find out. It's got the schedule of who's going to be on and just things going on the slab. And then if you want to listen to us, we're on Thursday nights from 7 to 9 Central Time at sharkradionetwork.com.
And I will say this: you guys have one of the nice, niftiest looking little interfaces there on the sharks with the little shark that swims by the portholes and stuff. That's pretty cool. I dig.
Yeah, isn't that cool? We have to thank Brian Byers for that. Brian and Anna Marie are the website owners over there, and he does all the internet stuff. So yeah. I don't know. Are you familiar with them?
I've been to the Shark several times.
Okay. Well, come over and stop by on a Thursday.
Well,
always welcome.
We're busy here at PEN every night of the week, and I'm fixing that. I've got about 55 minutes right now until I do a radio show. It's music based, but it's a radio show. So,
what kind of music do you play?
I'll sneak in.
Well, my radio show Yeti Radio has, while it may sound like it's all crypto based, it's not. It's my musical dyslexia. Tonight, I'm kind of gonna get an old school blues and funky with it, like some ZZ Top, Stevie Ray. But I'm subject to play anything. I'm subject to play anything from Diana Ross to Five Finger Death Punch. It all depends on my mood.
Awesome. That kind of sounds like me when I get in just a music mood. I play just about anything.
I've even grown to like country to a certain degree.
Uh-oh.
Huh, honey?
Yes, darling.
Well, you kind of lost me on that one, but...
Well, it'll come back. It'll swerve back here in a minute.
Awesome.
And Kim, who do you guys have coming on Monday?
This Monday we have TerraVision's Maureen Holleran.
And speaking of, and that's on Just Saying, which is at 8 o'clock.
That is on Just Saying, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right.
On Mondays, we are the first of 3 different shows of the Mistresses of Mondays.
Yep. Right after the girls on Monday is Driven by Destiny and Followed by Fate with Marie Fourier. And then Off the Wall with Becca Shugart. This week she has on Adam Tritt. He's an author and a poet. But speaking of Miss Maureen Holleran, we would love to announce the return of Miss Holleran to PEN Stable. She will be simulcasting not only on her website, but simulcasting on PEN starting tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. So come join us.
Yay!
So, Randy, thank you so much for for dealing with our crazy cross-country madness thing we got going on here. So
thank you, Eric and Kim, for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And we will grab you back again.
Yeah.
Oh, you better.
When you're up at full speed and only partially caffeinated, we'll come talk to you again. Okay,
that sounds good. Yeah, as soon as I can hear out of this side of my head, then it'll be great.
Deal.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Oh, our pleasure. And we're out of here, guys. Got a jet.
Have a good night and a good weekend. We're out.
Bye.
Shadow on the wall that looks like a man. Lord, that lamp just moved on that stand. I got movement in the cellars, I got footsteps in the hall. There's no time to waste, I better make some calls. I gotta get ready, make everything right, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team, let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. This old house has a long history. It should be real good for activity. And we got the house wired for sound and got motion alarm setting all around. Got a box full of batteries ready to go, and everyone's itching to start this show. Got our logo tees, driving black SUVs, and that one bald guy with a slick goatee. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. Well, there's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's Let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team, let's get started. Hey, this is your big brother Mike calling. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. That's right. Go get 'em, boys!
When you were growing up watching it.
Well, from what Sal and Jen had said, that a lot of the gas stations are actually running on generators, and the generators aren't strong enough to pump the gas.
Right.
So they're just kind of trapped.
Yeah. I know they had, and they were talking, I know I saw on CEN. That's a new news network. CNN, they were talking, they have police stationed at almost every gas station that still has any kind of fuel up there, just to make sure that people are being able to one at a time go to the pumps and get gas, and there's nobody fighting, and it's just ridiculous.
Absolutely, but we send our prayers out to everybody involved in this thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, and we're glad all our friends and fans up there are happy, and we hope everybody's safe. I'm gonna try to find some Red Cross videos to put on the autopilot here at the TV station, so as people log in, I haven't been able to find one yet. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to find one. That way, people can constantly have the information up there, so they'll know where to go.
Right. Bless you.
But tonight, would you like to introduce our guest, since I can't seem to get his name right?
Because I messed you up?
I didn't say that. Not on air.
Tonight we have a lovely guest. He is the host.
And hi guys, I promise I won't play that twice. Oh, it's been one of those kind of weeks.
Hi everybody, and welcome to PEMA TV.
And welcome to Friday, November the 2nd, 2012. Only 20 more days till Christmas, or Thanksgiving.
Don't rush it.
Yeah, tell me about it. Lots of stuff going on here on the network. Had some shows move around, had a new show start on Thursday night. We do have an all-female lineup on Monday nights, so now on Thursdays you can tune in for Testosterone Thursdays here on BEN. We have an all-hosted male lineup. My darling wife, as you can see, is not here, and I don't have her body hidden anywhere here in East Texas. She's actually in Pennsylvania. And, honey, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are things up there?
Cold. Very cold.
I'm guessing everybody around Mary's up there is okay, though. I mean, everybody's doing okay.
Yeah, from what I can tell, we did some driving around last night, and there's a lot of really big trees and sidewalks missing now. Yeah. Not too far from here, people are still without electricity. We had a flooded basement and a few shingles and a huge bush takeoff. But other than that, we want to send our prayers out to everybody involved in the Frankenstorm.
Yeah. Kim and I went through a very similar type scenario, much smaller scale. There in St. Louis, a year ago, baby? Something like that. A little more than a year ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. So we know what it's like to your entire neighborhood gets just decimated and leveled, and tops get pulled off of buildings, and 300-year-old trees start falling over. It's pretty. It's impressive what Mother Nature can do. Scary
it's
too.
Devastating.
Yeah.
And just my own little side note. I just removed someone from my Facebook for talking garbage about the victims up here. That's not nice. It's not okay.
Yeah.
And how anybody can be so cold is beyond me. They've already claimed 100 deaths up here. I mean, there are people. We're getting reports from Long Island where they have no gas at the pumps, they have no electricity, they haven't had anything all week. They're just kind of stuck on Long Island. So please send out prayers to them and don't make fun of them.
Yeah. Kind of makes that whole escape from New York isn't quite as funny as it used to be.